Okay, let me just stop everyone from panicking. This isn't another YouTube review slating the Marvels. So please bear with me. What I want to try and do, now that the dust has settled on the box office and the film reviews and etc., etc., what I want to try and do is look at it from this must be the end. From all the information we've now gathered in the past week or so, this must be the end of Marvel's particular kind of subgenre of movie that hasn't really worked since Endgame, has it? After the scroll, let's go through the facts and figures on the Marvels and let's examine it in a little bit more detail. Bonjour. So, very, very interesting article in, of all places, Forbes. But then again, just as a side note, don't Disney just love to do a splash in Vanity Fair and Forbes and a Hollywood Reporter where they're all on the cover and they're all, it's nothing to do with the film. The interview is a bit to do with the film, but it's talking all about other stuff. I don't care. I used to love getting, I don't know, Empire magazine or Starlog or Sci-Fi Now or Fangoria, where you'd have all these latest films and they'd be talking about the special effects and what he does and what she does and what they do. When X-Men come out, I don't know where that was, whether they done a photo shoot for that. But you know what I mean? I don't know what audience they're trying to get now. And it is this Dismal Minuses subgenre of movie for the Marvel universe that has spectacularly failed. Now, separate to this subgenre I'm talking about is the Spider-Man stuff through Sony, even though the second Venom film was so bad. But that's nothing to do with this particular ideological subgenre that I'm talking about with Disney. And I think you're all getting the idea now of what I'm talking about. And I'm also not including, within Disney, I'm not including the Guardians of the Galaxy. Somehow that was a true anomaly. And in a way, it was a little leftover of the good times. Don't start crying. And there were good times aplenty. But let's go through this Forbes article. And believe it or not, the guy, I forget I should have written down his name, but he's a regular contributor to Forbes. I wouldn't say he's a shill for Marvel, but within this same feature, which I'm not going to show you it all, I just want to get down into the facts of it, that even he couldn't deny. But he did have to mention that it was the highest grossing film, so I'm going to mention it as well. It was this is the good news. It was the highest grossing film ever for a black woman director. Yay. This isn't a video about that, but I just thought I'd mention the good news before we look at the bad. Come on, let's look at it. Right. It has the lowest MCU domestic opening ever, 46 million. I mean, that's, these numbers speak for themselves. This isn't subjective anymore. This is just the facts. It's got the lowest global opening ever for MCU, for Marvel. 110 million. Now, bearing in mind, this budget is quarter of $1 billion. We need to calm down and think about it, don't we? Just your budget, without you advertising and sending your stars all over the world to promote it, because I don't know anyone that turned out to promote this, to be fair. $250 million plus. Then you've got to pay, once you've made it, the revenue you're not getting every single dollar spent in the cinema back. You have to pay the cinemas. to show it. They need their cut, don't they, to survive? That's when these budgets, and they say general rule of thumb is double the I'm not sure. I'm not sure where that metric ever come from. But what I do know is that a lot is dependent on your first few weeks. You know, let's say the first month. Let's say, you know, the word of mouth, your promotions worked. You can't get around the world, can you, in 1 week? So it's going to take a while for work to travel. I'm talking very, very basically here. Common sense basics. That if you just spent $250 million, you would take your time promoting it in different markets and try to nail it. Send different stuff. Maybe there's someone who in the film who's popular in one place and not in the other, so you don't bother flying them out, do you? Etc. Etc. Anyway, let's read on. It has the largest week 2 drop off. So here we go. What I'm talking about, it would take you a good few weeks, you know, say 4, 6, 8 weeks. 78% drops, or whatever you earned in week 1. I mean, you don't, which is bad. You don't stand a chance. The Marvels is the 3rd lowest. Now, this bit here, I've got to say, the whole Rotten Tomatoes thing, I don't believe. I don't believe any of it. I don't use it. I don't go on it. I need to find my news from other sources elsewhere. I think it's a very politically driven machine now, and every now and again you can point to it and say, look, even Rotten Tomatoes doesn't like it, because every film that comes out that we all don't like, we say, oh no, this is the shill media and all that, which, you know, there's a lot of truth to that. But I don't know how and why Rotten Tomatoes now exists. I just think it's a bankrupt device to find out anything, because even if there were trusted critics on there, wouldn't you just go to the source, that trusted critic? It's all right going on there for audience reviews, I suppose, but can't you get that elsewhere? Don't know. I just think it's a whole. Sorry, that was an aside. I should have warned you to fast forward through that bit, shouldn't I? Let's get on with it. The Marvels got a rare B cinema score, tying it to the Eternals and Quantumania, the lowest in MCU history. I've got no idea what that's all about. It's obviously bad news, though. And comparing it to the Eternals and Quantumania kind of does says it all. That was bad grammar, wasn't it? Kind of does say it all. Let's go through the last one, and then we can talk about the further implications of all this. The Marvels is expected to end its theatrical run with 210 million, 240 million globally. And it's saying here under its 270 million budget. I mean, the budget can be, you know, none of this is can be verified, not budget-wise. But these films are on that level. And that's the lowest total for an MCU movie ever. Right. And this is why I now believe, let's just take a moment, they're not even going to get enough money back. And bearing in mind, off of the takings for this movie, like when it says it's earned, say the upper level, it's 240 million. You've got to take off the percentage that the cinemas want back. It's all right saying the box office is this, which is great when it's going gangbusters. But when you're getting down, when you're analysing this stuff in the tens of millions, you're in a minus anyway, so even without, let's just call it 240 million and it's all profit, which it isn't. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's not all profit. It's a dead duck. And when you think about films like The Eternals as well, and Black Panther, Kung Fu Panda. Oh, in the halcyon days. I know it's nothing to do with Disney, but anyway, they were decent films. Black Panther. Wakanda Forever. I will put my new teeth in next video. And it's set to his, oh, I'm not going to go through a crappy list of crappy films, because what I want to talk about with you lot with the Marvels is, I think this is the final nail in the coffin. And we all know what everyone else calls this subgenre, whether it's MCU, whether it's agenda politics driven, whatever it is. We've gone through it all. I think we have on YouTube, and justifiably so. Don't get me wrong. Dismal Minus deserve it, and heads should be rolling. To be fair, I do believe that heads should be rolling. The rot that is set in to an entire corporation to reach this low point. You imagine the rot, the arrogance of the heads of department to believe in, and it is an agenda. It has been an agenda. And one other thing about this particular subgenre, Marvel, and the MCU, as we'll call it, the one thing that's come before this nail in the coffin for Marvel is a film called Barbie, right? Because the studio and critics and everyone, all the shills have come out in defence of the Marvels. Oh my God, it's down to misogynistic fanboys. The very, very low viewing figures that they got is 85% male. So unless they're all trans or gay, how is it misogynist that this film has failed? And if there's this perception, where is this female audience that Marvel is so keen to ditch the male audience? Since Endgame, all they want to do is say no more of these geezers. It's down to the women now. And even when there is a bloke in it, he's got to get his kit off and here we go, have some of that. Now, I know there is an element of that, but you can't do a film like Thor Love and Blunder without having the action that the male part of the audience wants. And you've dragged your girlfriend or your partner, your wife, whatever, you know where I'm going. Same with Aquaman. I think that there's some really interesting information about the Aquaman viewing figures and the because of Momoa. And I don't mind. Aquaman first film it was all right. It was all right, but it's all part of this general kind of creative malaise. And this is before AI got involved. So anyway, perhaps we'll all blame it on that another day. So why is it that if Marvel come out and say, "Oh, look at the girl power in this one, girlfriends," and "Oh my God, it's so exciting," and "We don't need you lot over there," meaning the boys. We only earn, what was it that collectively all those Marvel films earned up to and including Endgame. It was a good few billion, weren't it? No, we don't need you lot no more. The girls are going to keep us going. Well, clearly, no, they're not. No, they are not. You can put a girl character into Ant-Man, his daughter, and make that, try and make it her film. You can put, anyway, I'm not going to list all them. I'm not going to list them all. And they're doing it over at Lucasfilm as well, where they've tried to insert, the final nail in the coffin for Indiana Jones. It hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. So why did it work for Barbie? I wonder if they made it. It's another film I haven't seen, but maybe, from what I hear, and you just get a general impression of things, don't you, that it was a decent film that women could go to and enjoy. I know there was, again, certain sector of YouTube that would go, "Oh my God, it's all about this women empowerment and it's all about doing men down." Oh, come on, if you can't. As a man, I've still got a sense of humour, even at my age. It wears thin, don't get me wrong, it wears thin. But I've got a sense of humour. So if there is a film with women taking the piss out of men, as long as it's within the structure of the film, and why not? Why not? If you're just going to have an hour and a half enjoyment, eat your popcorn, drink your drink, and go, come on. But the Marvels now, and this, and I will keep calling it that subgenre, because I think you all know, if you're still here, you all know what I'm talking about. Which just leads me to one final point about what happens now. They cannot, I mean, we've got Deadpool lined up, which, in again, isn't really part of any of this crap. Thankfully. Hopefully. But that's going to be the first indication that we know. Sony, I think, have got their final now in the coffin coming with Madame Web. That looks as much as an abomination as this. But that's down to Sony. And they're not. They've done Venom 2 and Morbius. So they're not out of the woods yet. They've got the Spider-Man stuff, but there's only so many films you can do that take all the suck all the profit out of your good stuff. Just stop it now. And I think that's where I think I'm going to end this. Marvel, hopefully, Feige, stop it now. If not, I think your head's got to roll, and I think from the top to the bottom, you've got to clear the decks and you've got to get new blood in. They have just started, if we've got a little bit of glimmer of hope with two things. The Echo trailer, and I know it's the TV side, but it just gives us a little glimmer of hope that they've gone from the trailer, it looks like they've gone down the Netflix route, which was a proven success. Who knew? When you buy an IP, you go down a familiar route to take that to market. Who knew in business you could do that successfully? Well, Netflix did it very, very successfully. And they've just done it again with One Piece. But anyway, this isn't about Netflix and that. And the second, the second glimmer of hope, apart from Echo, is the news about the Fantastic Four. Now, I know people are already up in arms about Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, but the news is only, is it Vanessa Kirby, Sue Storm? I think that's going to be, that's a great choice. But I think if it's going to be a reboot of the X-Men and the Fantastic Four as your cornerstones of a new Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think that's going to work. I'll end it there. If you have bared with me so far, thank you so much. As always, you sexy, sexy subscribers, you know how much I love you. If you want to comment, please come at me. Tell me if you agree, disagree, something I may have missed. If you've watched the Marvels and you completely, utterly disagree, please let me know in the comments. I want to get into it. Listen, no one's lives at stake. It's just supposed to be entertainment. So there's no need for anyone to fall out. You can tell how much I love all this stuff. So there's no need for anyone to follow each other. We're all going to have our favourites, and we're never going to agree. So anyway, comment, give me a little thumbs up if you don't mind, and if you really want to go mad and join my sexy, sexy gang, subscribe. Anyway, in the meanwhile, till next time, I'll bid you all adios.